Okay, and we're live. Hello, everyone. My name is Oliver Moore, and I am the host of the podcast that you're currently listening to. At the time of this recording, it is now the 12th of September, 2018. A name for the podcast hasn't actually officially been decided, but one of the names that I'm thinking is one that my friend Connor suggested to me, which is called We're Making a Film. And the reason behind it's going to be called We're Making a Film is because this podcast, I'm hoping for it to be a way to document my final year of animation college. So I'm a final year student in Ballyfermot College, Dublin, Ireland, and I thought it'd be a good idea to have this sort of podcast going as a way to monitor the work that's going to happen throughout the year. So college just started this week, and yeah, so I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to getting things started, and I'm also looking forward to getting things done, because I've been studying animation for about 5 years now. This will be my 5th year in college, and I think that is more than enough time in terms of educating myself on what animation is. And yeah, I think I thought it'd be a good idea to record this podcast. I'm not planning on having anyone on this week's podcast. It's kind of just this is basically just an introduction to the podcast. So again, I'm a 5th year in Ballyfermot College. Technically it's 4th year, but I did a preliminary course. I did a prep course even, I should say. So this is my 5th year in college. And for our final year, we as a class, we have to make 2 or 3 short films. And basically what we'll be doing, it will be split up into teams. I'm not sure how big the teams are going to be this year. I'm not sure how many teams are going to be this year. I'm really hoping that it's going to be at least 2 teams, at least 2 or 3 teams. And yeah, so then we all have to work on a short film throughout the year, and then that'll be screened in the Irish Film Institute, or the IFI for short. Now, this week in college, we've discovered that on our first day back, a lot of the teachers this year have either stepped down from their positions, or they've just I was going to say gone missing, but that's not true. They haven't gone missing. They've just decided to work in other places. So we're a bit scrambled at the moment, and also we don't have a course coordinator this year as well. So we're kind of lost for words in terms of where we're going to be going. But I am hopeful. My class, it's a great bunch of people, so we're going to be holding each other together this year, and we're going to try to get things done as simply as not as simply as possible, but we're going to try to get things done as best as we possibly can. Hold on just a second. That's some good coffee. So basically what we have to do is next week everyone in the class has to pitch an idea for a short film. Now, we have been taught how to do pitches throughout the entire time we've been in college. Like we had a whole module based on pitching ideas to the class, where we'd stand up in front of each other and we'd talk about our ideas, and then in the following weeks we'd have scripts written. We'd get people to go up to the front of the class and read them out. Basically that kind of idea. It's kind of like a film training, where when you're working in the animation industry and you want to work an idea, you have to pitch it to the people who are to the big ups, the producers and whatnot. So that kind of stuff, it's really simple in theory, but when you're actually up there and doing it and pouring your heart out into this idea that you've been working, hopefully most people have been working on their ideas for a long time, but sometimes you can tell when someone hasn't been working on an idea for very long and it just falls flat, kind of. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen to me, because I've been working on my idea for a few months now. But there are people in the class that have other ideas as well. I'm really looking forward to hearing their ideas. Really, really looking forward to hearing their ideas. And hopefully some really good ones get picked. I would like mine to get picked, but I'm not too pushed if it doesn't, because I know the other people in the class will have great ideas and I'd love to work on their stuff as well. So yeah, I'm really hopeful in terms of that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I guess once that's been pitched, once our ideas have been pitched, then they'll be picked by the teachers at the college or whatever. I'm not too sure who's actually deciding all the final stuff this year, but it should be okay. I had something else to talk about there for a second. Now it's after slipping my mind. So we have to pitch our ideas, and in the pitch we have to show. Obviously, we have to show the idea. We have to explain why we chose this idea, what our inspiration for it was, what we expect people to react like when they see it, who our target audience is, whether it's 2D or 3D, whether it's going to be story driven, whether it's going to be visually appealing or visually leading, I guess. I don't know what the word for that would be. But I think most of the people in my class are hoping to pitch for a 2D film, because there's not many of us in the class are comfortable working in 3D. There's a few of us, but not enough to actually work on a short film. So yeah, hopefully they do well. Yeah, another reason for this podcast is just I also wanted to reach out to people that might not have any way of understanding what you do in animation college, because I know for one, when I started college, I had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into, but I loved every second of it. I loved absolutely every single second of college. I know I might have complained about it the whole time, but I loved it regardless. So yeah, again, this podcast is it's another way for, because there's a lot of podcasts out there at the moment that are done by people who are actually working in the industry, in the animation industry, such as the Cartoon Saloon podcast, which I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite podcasts. Unfortunately, it's not recorded as often as I'd hope it to be, but every time a new episode does come out, I have such excitement. I just become a little schoolgirl. For those of you who don't know, the Cartoon Saloon podcast, I think it's called The Speakeasy, and it's hosted by Tom Moore of Cartoon Saloon. It's one of my favorite animators and artists ever. Don't tell him I said that though. Yeah, again, so those kind of podcasts, they talk to people that have been working in the industry for years and years, and they try to give advice to students, not even students, but just to other people that want to start working in the industry. But I feel like there's room for a podcast that's made by students, that's for students, and it talks about being a student in animation. I feel like I'm a little bit late to the game though, because I'm in my final year and I have a few friends that would love to be on a podcast type thing, where they can either complain about the year they're going through right now, or they can also try to give advice to people that are in the years below us. It's also another way for us to get our voices heard if we are looking for jobs. I'm hoping that eventually this podcast would become big enough, at least in Ireland, for people to have heard of it, and for people that want to get into animation to have heard of it, and they'll know a little bit better on how to, how to direct themselves into where they're going. Some of the ideas that I have for this podcast have people that are either students in the same college as me. I don't know, they could be in other colleges, other animation colleges like IADT, Dunleary, some other college that I cannot remember the name of right now. It's after slipping my mind, but I'd love to have other people on the podcast and talk about their experience with animation college, and people that have either they've dropped out of animation college and they want to get back in, or people that they just want to dive straight into animation as well. You never know. It could be a lot of fun. And I have a few friends that are working in the industry at the moment, and I'd love to get their insights on how they got interested in animation, how long they've been interested in animation, if they went to college about it or not, or if they're self-taught. I know that the phrase self-taught there's a lot of controversy going around nowadays about being self-taught, because some people believe that you're never truly self-taught, where you'd be learning from online courses or YouTube videos or something like that. And to be honest, I think it's a little bit silly, because you're not going to go, oh, I was taught by this person on YouTube and this person and this person and this person. It's easier just to say self-taught. Anyway, that's a hot take, so I'm going to move on from that for now. Yeah, so I have a few friends that are working in the industry at the moment, and I'd love to have them on and talk about the goings on in animation right now, because there's so many different positions in animation. There's so many different ways to get into animation. Like, no one gets into the animation industry the same way. Like, obviously you come across someone that has, okay, yeah, we both got in at the same time in the same way, but Everyone has a different experience, and it's so interesting. I think it's so interesting to listen to how people got into animation, because there's people that have been studying, say, I don't know, biochemistry or mathematics or something like that, and then they just decide, I want to be an animator. I think it'd be good fun to be an animator, and then they become an animator, and it's just, it boggles my mind on how someone can make such a massive change in their life. And it's kind of inspiring in a way as well. But yeah, so I myself, just to give a bit more background to me, I myself got my first animation job this summer. I was working in a small studio in Dublin called Igloo Films, and we were working on a kids TV show called Peak Zoo. It should be out sometime this year. I'm not exactly sure when, but as soon as it is out, I'll be telling everyone about it, and I hope to show everyone the work that I did on the show as well. So anyway, enough of tooting my own horn. Just trying to think of what else could I possibly say on this podcast right now. Yeah, I'd love to get some suggestions from people on what else I could possibly talk about. I want to keep it mostly, I want to keep it animation related, but it can also talk about video games, films, even live action films. I don't know, what else? TV shows, just anything to do with entertainment, really, because I'd like to broaden my horizons in terms of that kind of stuff. I do listen to a lot of other podcasts as well, including the Blind Boy podcast, Joe Rogan podcast. I listen to the Yog Pod. I listen to the Speakeasy. I want other podcasts as well. I want people to suggest other podcasts that they think I might like, or other people might like as well, if they're interested in the same stuff. What else could I do? Anything. Just people can hit me up on. Hit me up. What am I talking about? Yeah, I have an Instagram page if people would like to follow me on that. My Instagram handle is @Revilo_Moore. That's Oliver spelt backwards, REVILO_MOORE. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and that's where I'll be sharing this. I'll be sharing a link to this podcast. I'm probably just going to put it up on YouTube or something like that, but it's not going to be anything fancy. Apologies as well for the sound quality, because I am recording this in my kitchen, because that's where my computer is. There's not a lot of space anywhere else in the house. So, and I'm also recording this on a gaming headset. So I'm not too sure how the sound is going to be, but if it is bad, I'll probably just re-record it or something. It should be okay though. I do want to have my friend Connor Leach as a secondary host. He might not be able to make it every week, but if he can come on, there'll be a lot more to talk about, and there'll be a lot more conversation and filler for a podcast. And then also, other than having him on as well, I'd like to have some guests on to talk about, not guests, but like friends from college, friends from work, people that I have worked with before, people that I'd like to work with, old friends that have left college and gotten work, and hopefully eventually I can get like some really big name to come onto the podcast, something like that, someone who's been working in animation for years and years and years. One thing I do want to say is that before I go talking about any films that we're going to be working on this year, I'm going to hold off on explaining what my idea is, just in case it doesn't get picked for the final year film. If it does get picked, then I'll be telling everyone about it. I have already told people about it that I've been speaking face to face with, but I don't want to go putting it out on a podcast just yet, because it might not get picked. I'm prepared for that. I'm prepared for that situation to happen if it doesn't get picked. I'll be a bit bummed out, but hell, that's life. That's what happens. That's what the animation industry is all about. Sometimes your ideas doesn't get picked and you have to work on someone else's idea, but I'm prepared for that outcome. So, but yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for listening, and please do recommend it to anyone that you think might be interested in such a podcast as this. I'm hoping to expand upon it a lot more in the future, because this is obviously, again, this is only the first podcast. I am not able to speak today. This is only the first podcast of hopefully many. I don't know if I'll be able to do it every week, but I'm aiming to have it. I'm aiming to have at least one episode a week. I might not be able. Obviously, I won't be able to get someone on every week. I think I'm just repeating myself. I won't be able to get someone on every week because that's just impossible, due to people either working full-time or they're also students, so they have no time to be coming out and recording a podcast. yeah, I think this went pretty well. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you. I hope to hear from some of you guys on suggestions on what I could talk about. Please feel free to suggest anything. I really don't mind. So yeah, thanks again. I'll see you guys. Bye bye.